Good afternoon, everybody. The importance of communication in the workplace is going to be the topic of our interest today. Now, the first question we always ask is, why do companies need to attach a great importance to the notion of communication when working? Now, large companies need efficient system of communication within the organization to enable the different departments and employees communicate with each other in the same building or sections situated in different locations. One form of communication when working within the same facilities or the same site is memos. I'd like to draw your attention to the importance of memos. Memos, this internal type of correspondence, enables officers to maintain good business relationships, what we call in-house communication. So memos are also used for information, clarifications, reminders, and authorizations. Accountability. Accountability is also important. People are held responsible for what they say through memos. Memos are also used to record or as a record of facts, a means or a form of concise communication, and that's the main characteristics of memos as a form of communication. So memos are also here to ensure quick and smooth flow of information in all directions. The memo form is used for short reports which actually help to take a decision. Now, how do we do that? We have different forms. We have memos, we have notices, we have agenda, and we have minutes of meeting. Now, as a possible definition, of course, of a memo is a short piece of writing generally used for internal communication. It is called inter-office memorandum, and then we cut it down for memo. A notice is generally a way of informing about meeting and describing a legal concept, specifying day, date, time, and place of meeting. Whereas the third form, or third type, which is agenda, is an official list of things to be done or dealt with at a particular meeting. The official record of discussions held and decisions taken at a meeting are called minutes. Now, the things we do with memos, things that should actually appear in a memo. So they have to be plain, informal, and more direct. They also have to be objective, lucid with reports and stating facts as they come. Memos also start with a statement of the purpose. Whenever we have a memo, we have to start with a statement of the purpose. And when we have paragraphs, the paragraphs have, of course, to be very short, much like newspaper articles. So they are audience focused. When we receive the memo, we know where the memo is coming from, and we know to whom the memo is targeted. Now, the things that you're not supposed to do when composing a memo, there should be no salutations with memos. There's no expressions like "Dear Mr." or signature like "Sincerely yours" and so on and so forth. Memos are not official until your initial next to your name in the form of like "from" and then "spot." One thing which is quite essential is you should not attempt to make an emotional or psychological impact. We informing people for the sake of informing, and we do not use difficult language or jargon. We should also observe the following point, which is avoidance of using too much or too many details. One, you have to stick to one context only. Now, the format of a memo as a form of business communication, it must be in what we call in-house style. You mentioned the name of the organization, the department. You should also include your job title and your readers, of course, the title of your readers, the ones who will receive the memo. You should also consider using bullets in the form of items in a list and inform readers about the context. One context per memo. This is very important. Name of the sender, contact information at the bottom. And do not forget to mention enclosures, of course, if any. The steps to follow, you create a header at the top, and then you create a paragraph that discusses the problem, and then you create a paragraph that proposes the solution, and you create a call to action. Finally, you would perhaps include reference attachments. Now, the common types of memos, we have the directive memo, we have, of course, to pass on instructions, and then we have the memo can be in the form of a response to an inquiry. It can be about a trip report, or field work or lab report. The heading is pretty straightforward. To, we have the structure to, from, and the date. To, we give the name and the job title and your readers. From, you include the reader's name and job title and the date. And then after that you get to the section where we have the subject. And here you have to be very specific, please. After that, we have the purpose of the message. You have a summary and then action to be taken. And if we have any necessary attachments like tables, figures, pie charts, graphs, you include them. We also include them. Now that's for the heading. For the message, the first sentence has to state the purpose and it has to be done in a very concise, direct manner. And then the next step, of course, you have to include a context in the form of a background which will make it easier for the readers to know what the message is about. Also, you need to use lists to draw attention to specific information. For example, to receive a degree in engineering, and then before stating the criteria, you would simply mention that you need to receive the degree, you need to complete them, you must complete the following, and then you present the points in terms of priority, core courses, elective courses, and senior design, as an example. When it comes to notices, we have, as you all know, I guess, notices come in different forms. We have general notices, we have public notices, we have circulars, we have questionnaires, we have what we call tender notices. Now let's go back to the general notices. Now for the general notices, these are pinned on the wall. For example, when you have general warning, when you want to draw employees to a type of caution, or if there is a danger. You also have what we call public notices, and these are regarding legal proceedings, notification of board meetings, things like local newspaper, radio, internet, and television. For the circulars, now there you seek opinions of the staff members, for example, in relation to matters of importance to the organization. And of course, questionnaires are there for opinions and suggestions. Finally, the tender notices, now they are written, of course, in a very formal manner, in the form, for example, of a formal offer to supply goods or do a job for an agreed price. What about the format of special notices? Now, the format of special notices, so we write the word note followed by a colon, underline the word or use bold if you have it. So one of those options will do the job. Now you also would like to begin, type in the text on the note, one space after the colon. No need to use bold. So the punctuation sign would be enough. Now you also would like to single space within the text of the note. Skip one line above and below the note. And finally, align the note with the text to which it refers. Now the style has to be, of course, more effective. Why more effective? Because we want it to cause command or demand. So the approach of management now has to be polite, persuasive, but not threatening. Effort to foster, to create good industrial relations related to general warning, caution, danger notices. And finally, instructions must often emphasize key points or exceptions. Now, when it comes to writing instructions, first thing you need to do, you would like to do is plan. You need to plan the introduction to your instructions carefully. Clear, simple writing, a complete understanding of the procedure in all its technical detail. Now, your ability to visualize the procedure in great detail and to capture that awareness on paper. Make sure you define the audience and situation of your instructions. And finally, your willingness to go that extra distance and test your instructions on the kind of person you wrote them for, meaning, of course, your audience. Okay, now a notice is also combined with a document of agenda. That is quite interesting when it comes to business communication in the workplace. And of course, the portion on the top is known as notice. It gives the details of the type, place, day, and time of meeting. Now, talking about agenda. Now, the agenda is a document that outlines the contents of a forthcoming meeting. It is usually sent along with the notice of the meeting, which means when people come, they know why they are here. Now, the purpose. Agenda helps members to come prepared for the meeting because they already know before coming, they know what we are meeting for. So agenda also helps in the smooth conduct of meeting. It provides us with some kind of organizational tools to organize who takes the floor, who follows, and so on and so forth. Agenda also ensures that only matters relevant to a particular meeting are discussed. No redundancy, no flabbergasting. Straight to the point. You talk about what is relevant to the matter already discussed. Already defined on the level of the agenda. Agenda ensures that every point is taken up for discussion. It apprises the members about the meeting of the minutes of previous meeting. So you know what you did before, and then we refresh your memory before start the new one. Now the format, of course, of the agenda is simple, concise. Company name followed by notice stating place, day, date, and timing. Then you use the heading agenda, and then you itemize in the form of items, of course, the topics to be discussed. Don't forget again the element of priority. What comes first, what follows. And then you have also to specify reference and date of issue. Okay? So you have the organization name, group, meeting agenda, location, date, starting and ending time. You also would like to give people an idea about when they're starting and when they're ending the whole thing. Now, reading of the minutes of the previous meeting is quite interesting, as we said, to put people again in the picture. The rest of the agenda items, any other issue with permission of the chair, of course. We need the permission of the chair and also participants. Now, let's get into more details about minutes of the meeting. Who takes it? Secretary only? Official record? We'll find out. Now, minutes of meetings, minutes are the official record of the proceedings of a meeting. Minutes must be precise, concise, an accurate record of decisions and resolutions. The validity as well as legality of the proceeding depends on the faithful recording and formal approval of the proceedings and resolutions by the appropriate authority. Now, we have different types of meetings, of course. We have minutes of resolutions. In this type of minutes, only the resolutions passed at the meeting are recorded and no reference is made to any discussion preceding the resolutions. No mention is made even of the movers and those who second of the resolution. Now, minutes of narrations is another type. Minutes of narrations are minutes which are somewhat similar to a report here. In addition to the resolutions, a brief account of the discussion and the voting pattern is also included. Now, after the meeting, so we have to ensure effective meetings, there are things that we have to observe. So, for example, we have to publish the minutes and action plan within 24 hours. They still have a fresh memory because information are still fresh in people's minds. So they still have a fresh memory of action plan and they remain enthusiastic and ready to get started. Of course, people wait for the minutes to arrive before they begin to tackle their commitments. Now, the effective meeting follow-up, of course, you have to respect and observe deadlines and the follow-up. What you ask for gets accomplished. Make sure that people meet their commitments, of course. And you also want to meet the planner's goal, which is to check progress and ensure that tasks are underway. Accountability is very important. You hold people responsible. So accountability for follow-up, you establish norms and consequences early in the cycle. What would happen if you didn't do this? So we establish norms, as I said, and we check progress at the next meeting. And if there is a real roadblock to progress, of course, you want to determine how to proceed. Now, debrief or debriefing, meeting debriefing. So there's a process behind that. Debriefing, of course, each meeting is a powerful tool for continuous improvement. Participants take turns discussing what was effective or ineffective and the progress they feel the group is making. And of course, future meetings reflect the evaluation. Now, emails. This is a very or a very popular form of business communication. So they are used for both for reaching out to people within as well as outside the organization. That's a part of an email. So they are there for speed reasons, low cost, quick distribution, flexibility, easy attachment, easy upward communication. Now, and of course, the general characteristics of these emails are they have to be concise, they have to be correct, they have to be clear. So they should develop what we call a conversational tone, and they should stick to one single theme. And you have also, of course, to maintain readability. Now, the format is pretty clear. When we want to format an email message, you have the heading, The heading, you mention the date and from, to, subject, and then if you send in copies to other people, so that the date appears normally automatically. And then the salutations, name with like dear and stuff like that. And then you have the body where you have the content or main point. And then the closing expressions like thank you, best regards, yours sincerely, and so on and so forth. And then of course you have to, the signature is the writer's name, of course. And thank you.